Australia is both the smallest continent and the sixth largest country on Earth. Think about that for a second. How can one place be both at once? A landmass that could swallow most European nations whole, yet still sits on the world map looking like an isolated island floating at the edge of Asia. But here's the real shocker. This island continent is more than just kangaroos, deserts, and beaches. Its geography, history, and people have created one of the most paradoxical nations on Earth. A place where ancient cultures stretch back 40,000 years, while futuristic cities rise just a few miles away. So, what makes Australia so unique? Why does this land hold secrets most people have never heard of? Let's dive in. Before we start, let me know in the comments, what's the very first word that pops into your head when you hear Australia? I want to see if it matches what we uncover in this video. Let's begin with the basics. Where is Australia actually located? Australia lies in the southern hemisphere, southeast of Asia, surrounded entirely by water. To the north is the Timor Sea, the Arafura Sea, and the Torres Strait. To the east, the Coral Sea and the Tasman Sea. To the south, the Bass Strait and the Indian Ocean. And to the west, it's all Indian Ocean. Now, here's where it gets wild. The Commonwealth of Australia spans 2,966,150 square miles. That makes it about the same size as the continental United States, but with just a fraction of the population. From east to west, the country stretches about 2,500 miles, roughly the distance between New York and Los Angeles. From north to south, about 2,300 miles, almost the distance from Toronto to Miami. And then there's the coastline, 22,826 miles long. Imagine tracing every beach, bay, and cove of this continent. You'd need years just to walk its perimeter. Australia's geography is already intriguing, but the way it's divided politically makes it even more fascinating. Quick question for you. If you had to drive across a continent, would you pick the endless highways of America or the remote, sunburnt stretches of Australia? Drop your pick below. The Commonwealth of Australia isn't just one giant landmass. It's split into 6 states and 2 main territories. New South Wales, Sydney, Australia's most famous city, Victoria, Melbourne, the cultural capital, Queensland, tropical beaches and the Great Barrier Reef, South Australia, wine country and the Outback, Western Australia, covering a third of the continent, Tasmania, the rugged island state. Then you've got 2 mainland territories, the Australian Capital Territory, ACT, home to Canberra, the nation's capital, the Northern Territory, NT, famous for Uluru, Kakadu, and vast desert landscapes. New South Wales, Sydney, Australia's most famous city. Victoria, Melbourne, the cultural capital. Queensland, tropical beaches and the Great Barrier Reef. South Australia, wine country and the Outback. Western Australia, covering a third of the continent. Tasmania, the rugged island state. Then you've got 2 mainland territories. The Australian Capital Territory, ACT, home to Canberra, the nation's capital. The Northern Territory, NT, famous for Uluru, Kakadu, and vast desert landscapes. But wait, Australia also controls faraway territories most people forget even exist. Christmas Island, the Cocos Islands, Norfolk Island, Heard Island, McDonald Islands, and even the Australian Antarctic Territory. Fun fact, some of these territories are closer to Asia than they are to Australia itself. Imagine belonging to a country thousands of miles away. Let me ask you, if you could take an all-expenses-paid trip to just one of these remote islands, which would you choose? Tell me in the comments. I'm curious which one wins. Long before Europeans arrived, Australia was already home to its first peoples, the Aboriginal Australians. Their story stretches back at least 40,000 years, making theirs one of the oldest continuous cultures on Earth. Aboriginal folklore insists they've always been here, but anthropologists believe they migrated from Southeast Asia when sea levels were lower, allowing simple land and water crossings. When seas eventually rose, Tasmania became an island, cutting its people off from the mainland and leading to unique cultural differences. Imagine that, a culture evolving in total isolation for thousands of years. Here's a challenge. If you had to survive with nothing but the skills of a hunter-gatherer, how many days do you think you'd last? Be honest in the comments. The Aboriginal Australians weren't farmers in the traditional sense, but they were masters of adapting to harsh environments. Their only domesticated animal was the dingo, introduced about 4,000 years ago. One of their most fascinating techniques was fire stick farming. By deliberately setting controlled fires, they cleared land, encouraged fresh grass growth, and attracted kangaroos and other game animals. This wasn't just survival, it was a way of shaping the land itself. In fact, some scientists believe Aboriginal fire management helped maintain Australia's ecosystems for thousands of years before Europeans ever set foot here. Question for you, would you have thought of using fire as a farming tool, or does that sound way too risky? If Australia is known for one thing, it's extremes. The north is tropical, with humid rainforests and monsoon seasons. The interior, known as the Outback, is brutally dry. Deserts cover about 70% of the continent. Meanwhile, the southern and eastern coasts enjoy temperate climates perfect for farming and cities. Then there's the Great Barrier Reef, the largest coral reef system in the world, so massive it can be seen from space. But here's the heartbreaking twist. Rising sea temperatures are threatening its survival. Entire sections have experienced bleaching events, sparking debates about climate change and Australia's role in protecting it. Let me know, if you could visit only one natural wonder of Australia, would it be the Outback or the Great Barrier Reef? In 1788, British settlers arrived, establishing a penal colony in Sydney. What followed was centuries of expansion, conflict, and displacement of Aboriginal peoples. European settlement reshaped the continent. Cities rose, farmland spread, and natural landscapes were forever altered. The Aboriginal population suffered greatly, with many communities cut off from their ancestral lands. It's a painful chapter of history, but one that shaped the Australia we see today. Question for you. Should Australia officially recognize its Indigenous peoples in its constitution? That's a debate still happening right now. What do you think? Fast forward to today, and Australia has transformed into one of the most modern nations in the world. Most Australians live along the coast, with Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane being the most populous cities. In fact, about 80% of Australians live within 30 miles of the ocean. Sydney is famous for its opera house and beaches. Melbourne is known for its culture, art, and coffee scene. Brisbane offers tropical warmth and outdoor adventure. Australia has a multicultural identity, a mix of British influence, Indigenous heritage, and immigration from across Asia and Europe. Which city would you pick to live in? Beachy Sydney, artsy Melbourne, or sunny Brisbane? Comment your pick. Despite its isolation, Australia plays a huge role globally. It's a member of the Commonwealth of Nations, a leader in sports, rugby, cricket, tennis, and an active voice in environmental debates. Culturally, Australia punches above its weight, exporting music, film, and wildlife icons like the kangaroo and koala. And of course, Australians are known for their laid-back, adventurous spirit. Here's a fun one. What's your favorite Australian export? Kylie Minogue, Hugh Jackman, or Vegemite? And here we circle back to the paradox that makes Australia so fascinating. It's the smallest continent, but the sixth largest country. It's geographically isolated, yet deeply connected to the world. It's home to one of the oldest continuous cultures on Earth, yet thrives as a modern, globalized society. Australia is a place of contrasts, and that's exactly what makes it unforgettable. Final challenge for you. What's one fact from this video that surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. I'll be reading them. So, is Australia a continent pretending to be a country? Or a country pretending to be a continent? Maybe it's both. And maybe that's why it continues to capture the world's imagination. If you enjoyed this journey through the land down under, make sure to subscribe for more explorations of the world's most fascinating places. Who knows? Our next stop might surprise you even more. Until then, keep exploring.